The Chris Stigall Show. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.
Several U.S. governors now say they do not support taking in refugees from Syria. This after it was discovered that one of the attackers in Paris likely posed as a refugee to get into Europe. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie says he opposes allowing any Syrian refugees into the country. However, both Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf and Delaware Governor Jack Markell say they continue to support the refugees and will welcome them into their states.
Refugees. Emphasis on the wrong syllable. Telephone number 855-839-1210. AT&T and Verizon, folks, pound 1210 to get here. CBSPhilly.com/Stigall. Hey, question, if, we're always told it's the American way, and it's our great heritage and tradition to welcome, give us your huddled masses yearning to breathe free and all of that. What if we knew that they were a bunch of anti-Semites? Seriously, what if they were a bunch of Jew haters? What if they practiced Sharia law and felt women should be subjugated? Because let me tell you something. Polling of these Syrian refugees, a great number of them, even if they're not active in ISIS themselves, share those views. So what do you think about that, Mr. and Miss Compassion out there? We ask, of course, because our governor, Tom Wolf of Pennsylvania, is one of these governors who says, yeah, come on in. President Obama, we'll take all of them. Hey, you want to put all 10,000 Syrian refugees in Pennsylvania? That's fine with us. Well, there's a gentleman in Pennsylvania who disagrees with that. He represents the 11th Congressional District in Pennsylvania. He's Congressman Lou Barletta, who also happens to serve on the House Committee on Homeland Security. Thinks this is a very bad idea. Wrote a letter to Governor Wolf and said so. And he joins us now on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Congressman, good morning.
Good morning, Chris. Nice to talk to you.
Why do you oppose the idea?
Well, I sit on Homeland Security. I am briefed all the time. I also sit on the subcommittee of counterterrorism and intelligence. I've had 4 experts, 2 from the FBI and the Secretary of Homeland Security himself, tell us we have nothing in place to screen these refugees from Syria. We have no records. There's no way of vetting them. There's no way of knowing who they are. So I'm not only questioning whether we should take refugees from Syria, I'm questioning the program itself. There's nothing to stop an individual from going to Somalia or another country and entering the United States. There's also a problem with the visa waiver program, which there's 38 states, Chris, where you can come to the United States without any person-to-person interview, without a visa. Now, ISIS has told us they want to attack us here. They said American blood is the best blood, and we will taste it soon. Well, I believe them. I think it's irresponsible to allow people to come into our country and yet into our state without us knowing who they are. I don't know who has briefed the governor, but I've had briefings by experts who have told us we have no way of knowing who these people are.
Congressman Lou Barletta of Pennsylvania's 11th Congressional District in the House of Representatives. What motivates, I know you can't get it truly into his head and heart, but do you think the president is purely motivated by what he interprets as compassion? Do you think it's sincere, or is there something more that we don't really see or understand?
Well, I can't get inside the president's mind and understand why he is doing what he's doing. And we do have a proud tradition of accepting immigrants and refugees into the United States. But we shouldn't be reckless with the safety of the American people when we are at war with people who said that the American blood is the best blood there is. Yeah. We are at war. And you don't invite people into your... I don't know how many of these people just pick up hitchhikers along the way without knowing who they are with their family. I don't know if they would recommend that their daughter or son just pick up every hitchhiker that they see because you want to be a good Samaritan and help people. Of course we do. Yeah. But we have to protect America.
Congressman, the Belgians are now admitting we've just completely lost control of whole communities. These people were able to do what they've done and create these hornets' nests for breeding terror because we've just handed over communities. And I'm pivoting here a little bit. I do want to come back to the Syrian refugee issue, but on a related point, the sanctuary city policy that's been in place in places like Philadelphia, it is interesting that heading into the weekend, quietly, the Mayor Nutter administration is trying to roll back a little bit, not entirely, but a little bit, this executive order on sanctuary cities. He's saying now he would like Philadelphia police to cooperate with ICE if we're dealing with an illegal who is caught up in murder or rape or possession of legal firearms or domestic violence or robbery. Of course, this has some activists wound up. But anyway, it's coming after what is reported here in the Inquirer as Mayor Nutter meeting with President Obama and Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson. And then after that meeting, supposedly, Nutter came back and wanted to revisit and make some changes to his sanctuary city policy. So are you aware of this meeting? And is this meeting happening with other sanctuary city mayors? And if so, what's going on in these meetings?
No, I have a big problem with this. I was a mayor of Hazleton for 11 years, and I was sued because I wanted to enforce the federal laws of immigration. And now we have mayors around the country who are defying federal laws, and it's nice that the mayor wants to maybe take a look at it, but they are required to enforce these laws. He doesn't have an option. There's no option of whether or not we're going to enforce federal laws or not. Listen, terrorists want two things. They want, number one, to enter the United States. That's their first goal. Their second goal is they want to be able to stay here until they carry out their mission. Why in the world would we give them a safe haven to remain here in the United States until they kill Americans? I can't understand for the life of me what we are thinking as a nation and as elected officials when our first duty is to protect the American people.
And
of
Lou,
course we're compassionate,
yeah,
but we shouldn't be at the risk of the American people.
Congressman Lou Barletta is with us of Pennsylvania's 11th Congressional District. He's on the House Committee on Homeland Security. Our border, our southern border, it's interesting because you really have a couple of stories going on simultaneously. You have the issue of the border, which is obviously, at least in the Republican ranks, become a hot issue. A lot of people talking about Trump and the wall and all of that. But then the Syrian refugee thing happens. We see what happens in Paris. It's very easy to marry the two. We haven't really done so. We say Syrian refugees, we know there are ISIS folks hanging out and hiding out and ISIS sympathizers amongst these refugees. We know there are. But, similarly, we talk about the flow of illegals coming over our southern border, and we always look at that as, well, that's Juan and Rosa, and they just want to clean and cook and make a good life for their family, when in fact, why is it not just as plausible that you have ISIS sympathizers, and probably do, pouring over our southern border too?
Well, there's two things we need to talk about. Number one, I went down to the southern border. If you remember, all the minors, supposedly minors, when they weren't all minors, many of them were over 14 years old, 20-some years old. But again, we had no way of vetting the people who were coming across that border when we had the influx of all the minors, and we knew gang members and drug dealers were also able to cross that border with the others. So there was a problem there. But here's a bigger problem. Nearly 50% of all the people that are in this country illegally didn't cross a border illegally. They come on a visa, the visa expires, and we can't find them. That is the preferred method of entry into the United States by terrorists, some who have committed the horrific crime on 9/11. We have a 9/11 Commission report that told us what to do so that this never happens again, and we are ignoring it. We have mayors declaring their cities safe havens for illegals. We have our borders who are open. We are taking refugees from around the world, not knowing we have no record of who these people are, and we have the terrorists who want to kill us telling us they're going to use this program, and we're coming to America soon, that we will taste American blood soon. I don't know how many warnings we need, Chris, but let me tell you, I do not want to be telling the people of America why this has happened when we have closed our eyes and turned our heads. Scale
of 1 to 10, Congressman Barletta, 10 being very likely, 1 being not at all likely, that we see something, God forbid, like Paris happen on our shores?
In my personal opinion, I would rank it an 8. There are many soft targets in America. When you think, as we focus on big cities, New York, Philadelphia, Boston, Chicago, how about all the many small cities in America with small police departments where these terrorists are now radicalizing Americans, where we know there are at least 50 Americans who went to Syria and we allowed them back into the United States. It only took a handful to kill what we just saw in Paris, the terrible incident in Paris. How easy would it be to go into small cities and kill more people? I think it's at high risk, and I think we are rolling the dice with the safety of the American people.
I think about people like Tom Ridge and Janet Napolitano and the early years of the Homeland Security Office, and they were very high profile. This particular Homeland Security Secretary, I don't know the man, and I don't see him a lot except for on the monitors at the airport. And I wonder what your relationship is with him, his with the president. Does he have the tools he needs? Is he singing a different tune than his boss?
Well, let me say this, that I personally like Jay Johnson. I've grown to know him through our committee and his appearing before the committee. I believe he's straightforward many times. He just recently, in October, under oath to our committee, that number one, he pledged to be vigilant about vetting the refugees, but he then admitted on record that it is true that we are not going to know a whole lot about a lot of the Syrians that come forth in this process, just given the nature of the situation. Why then would we just open the doors and allow people to come when the people that want to kill us said that they would use this program, and then they're coming here soon?
Has Governor Wolf responded to your letter? You encouraged him in a letter yesterday not to invite these Syrian refugees in. Has he responded?
He has not. We sent the letter yesterday. I hope the governor looks at that letter seriously. This is not about politics. This is about the safety of not only the American people, but right here at home in Pennsylvania. We live here. We need to be careful. I think the program itself, we need to have hearings, and we need to be assured if the American people are going to accept taking refugees in from around the world, then we need to be able to reassure them that everything is being done to make sure that terrorists are not coming in with them. When we have the experts telling us that we can't do that, we have no way of knowing who these people are, we should stop this program. I think we should relook at the visa waiver program. If you as a terrorist can just go to 38 other countries and then come here without a visa, that's a problem. I think we should look at these programs. This is a new world and a new day. And I think we need to, again, understand we are at war with people that hate our way of life and have vowed to come here to kill us. I think as elected officials, we have a responsibility to do everything we can.
Your Republican colleagues in the House that are from Pennsylvania, the other districts, do you have any, I don't mean to make you speak for them, but are you aware of any that don't share your point of view on this?
I'm not. I'm not. Again, just getting back to Washington yesterday from the weekend, I'll have an opportunity to talk to my colleagues, and I know there are some who have also sent letters last night asking the governor to take a time out here and let's wait. So, I'm hoping as a delegation, Democrat and Republican, that we could ask the governor to let's just use a little common sense. Let's be reasonable. Let's not rush into it. I'm not saying that we don't ever allow people in again, but let's make sure that the program is working, and let's make sure the experts can tell us that we're doing everything we can to know the background of every individual we're letting into America.
We'll stay close on this, Congressman. I appreciate your vigilance on it, and if we hear anything from Governor Wolf, we'll be in touch, and we'll continue to stay close to this story. It's an important one, so thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
The Chris Stigall Show. Talk Radio 1210. WPHT.